Okay, so let's talk about what's been going on in France over the last week or so. So we have the election coming up in November, we all know, and Trump is projected by everybody to win, and it's looking more and more every day that it's going to be a massive landslide, and the left is not going to be able to take it. They've been brainwashed so much that Orange Man is bad, he's a threat to democracy, he's evil, he's going to put people back in chains, Project 2025, all of that type of stuff. So the left-wing voters have been trained to hate Donald Trump. They've been trained to fear him, that he's going to do something terrible to them. And they've also been trained to react to things with violence. We saw the Summer of Love a couple of years ago. We see Supreme Court justices being threatened. They tried to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh. We saw that Bernie Sanders supporter several years ago, how he tried to delete some congressmen. So they always claim that Trump and the right are the violent ones. But when you look at all the actual evidence, it seems like the left is extremely violent. So we're going to read about what's been going on in France with these voters. We just had some French parliamentary elections. They have a different system. They have 2 rounds of voting. It happens within a span of 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. And Macron's group, he's the left-wing president, even though a lot of people try to label him a centrist. But when you dig into his policies, how he feels about immigration, LGBT, elemental P, some of his economic globalist policies, he's a leftist. He's not a centrist. But a lot of his allies in the parliament have been ousted. And these far left-wing voters in France can't take it. So we're going to read about this because this is going to give us a preview of what we might see this fall. Paris is burning. Rioting leftists besiege French capital after populist National Rally Party victory. So the National Rally is a group led by Marine Le Pen. She's a very conservative person. She's not down with all this mass immigration. They're bringing in people from Syria, people from Iraq, people from Afghanistan, people from North Africa. They're bringing in all these foreign immigrants to replace the French population. This is what Macron's been doing, even though he's a centrist. So the National Rally is against this. The National Rally also has certain stances on gay marriage and other things. They kind of softened their stance. They were completely against it. Now they're more for civil unions versus outright marriage. But those are just some of the stances. The main thing with the National Rally is preserving French culture, preserving the French population, preserving France as France has been for over 1,000 years. Not flooding France with immigrants from all over the Middle East and Africa, replacing the French population with foreigners. Something that's happening in the United States. We see the left in the United States flooding the country with illegal immigrants, mostly from Latin America, but also Middle East, also Africa, and even Asia. So let's see what this article is talking about. The streets of Paris became a war zone overnight Sunday as tens of thousands of left-wing rioters took to the streets in fiery opposition to the historic election victory by the country's right-wing National Rally. Can you imagine that? You lose an election and your party just goes ballistic. Your voters take to the streets, start looting, burning up buildings, vandalizing. How in the hell are you trying to promote yourself as the party who's going to do what's best for the country when you're looting, you're vandalizing, you're destroying businesses, you're hurting the economy, and you're promoting violence, you're teaching the younger generation this is how you react to things? Nothing but a bunch of emotional idiots who can't take losing. Rioters smashed storefronts, vandalized monuments, and set massive bonfires in public squares after the election results revealed the party, headed by nationalist Marine Le Pen, took 33% of the vote in the decisive first round of France's legislative election. So 33% is good in France's election. Like I said, they have multiple rounds. So when you go into the first round, they're going to be multiple parties. It's not like the United States where you just have the Republicans and the Democrats completely dominating with a bunch of irrelevant parties like the Green Party, the Libertarian Party. In France, you have multiple parties who get big swaths of the population. So in the first round, they take the top 2, and then you go into the second round, and the top 2 go head to head, and then you see the outcome. So in the first round, the National Rally won 33% of the vote, and Macron's party took a massive L. Look at this, man. This is the party that wants to win. Macron, these your people? This is what you want France to be? And keep in mind, a lot of these people are immigrants who've been brought in by Macron and his crew. And we're going to look at some clips in a second so I can show you that. Stunning videos spread widely online show mass groups of demonstrators clashing with cops, launching fireworks that at times bathed city streets in an eerie blood red glow. Plumes of tear gas smoke wafted throughout the crowds as they battled it out in the streets with riot gear clad police officers. The wild melee punctuated by the sounds of coughing and shattering glass. Wow. A full blown fight, fighting the police and everything because you lost an election. And like I said, these are the French people. This is going on in Paris. And, you know, we always laugh at the French, talk about how soft they are. And look how crazy they're going over losing their legislator. This is not even a presidential election. This is just the legislator who helps Macron pushes for left policies. Imagine what's going to happen when Sleepy Joe, Kamala, or whoever the hell they put up gets their asses trounced in November. How is the left going to react? They are talking about, oh, we brought the adults back in the room. We're bringing stability to the country. Trump is deranged. He's causing violence. Watch what happens. These left-wing lunatics in the United States are going to go ballistic, and they're going to destroy their own neighborhoods, cause all types of problems. And I feel for the cities, not really feel for because they kind of voted for it, they did it themselves, but the cities that are short staffed on police officers, like Oakland, California, people don't want to be cops. They're desperate for cops out there. Baltimore, another far left-wing blue city, extremely short-staffed on cops, but full of left-wing hooligans. So imagine in November what's going to happen in cities like that. Don't go to those cities. Round election, avoid that place. You might need to lock up. If you live in a place like Oakland or Baltimore on election night, or if it takes a week to count, goddamn. When they announce who won, when they announce that Trump won, you better set your house up like the Purge, where you have all of those security measures to completely shield your house from a bunch of hooligans trying to cause problems, because it's going to be crazy out there. Now, that's if the left doesn't pull off any funny business and steal an election, but that's a different story. A united bloc of left-leaning parties called the New Popular Front Coalition now 28% of the vote for a second-place finish, while incumbent President Emmanuel Macron, the weirdo, but I'm not going to get into that, centrist party scraped together just 20% of the vote. Got your asses beat. Macron, they don't like you. And it has a lot to do with Macron letting all these immigrants in, pushing these policies that the French people don't want, and trying to drag us into World War III. I did a couple of videos on France, on Macron and his crew, instigating things with Russia, talking about we're about to send some French troops, even though their army is shot, trashed, and sorry, and extremely short-staffed, talking about they're going to send French troops a couple of thousand because that's all they can muster. They have to scrape together 2,000 French troops talking about they're going to send them to Ukraine just to get killed. And the French people like, bro, we don't want war with Russia. You listening to those neocons in the United States and you about to get us wiped out. So they don't like you, Macron. Macron is very unpopular, and I think he's going to be gone pretty soon too. The dead last finish marked a stinging defeat for Macron, who called for the snap runoff election the day after his party was defeated by the National Rally in June's parliamentary elections as a Hail Mary attempt to thwart the National Rally's continued rise. Yeah, desperate bid, not going to work. But the ascent of right of center party in a free and fair election proved too much for many Paris youth to bear, who directed their anger towards vandalizing their own city's landmarks and business. What a bunch of idiots. Wow. This is your place, your country. You claim that you're pro-France. You claim that you love your country, you love your city, and you want Macron and his team, you want his side, his party to win because you care about France, the good and the well-being of France. But you go out into the streets burning up Paris. Dummies. And this is what happens when these left-wing politicians and the left-wing media trains the lunatics, trains their voters to be hateful, spiteful, and violent. This is what happens. You haven't taught them how to take an L. You have taught them, just like in the United States, the left is teaching that Trump is completely evil and a threat and we're all going to die and all of that, even though he was in office for 4 years. We didn't see any of that. But they taught them to be hateful and to be violent, and that's why we can expect a worse reaction than this when it comes to the U.S. election. Much like the U.S., France has been beset by an overwhelming influx of migrants in recent years. Le Pen's promise to crack down on the illegal immigration as a major campaign platform has clearly resonated with wide swaths of the nation's electorate. Tapping into that frustration, Le Pen managed to pull a coalition of supporters across the country, particularly in farming communities and other small towns. She's also been a major presence on social media with more than 1 million followers on TikTok. Sunday's voter turnout was up sharply over 2022's tally, with 60% going to the polls compared to 39.4% last year. God damn, 39, that's a terrible turnout. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of these riots. Let's see what's going on here. Move around this a little bit. So as you can see the flags, we see what's going on here. Look at this, man. A crowd of freaks. A crowd of freaks. So they're speaking French. We don't have a translation, but we can get the gist of it. They're salty. It's a bunch of left-wing lunatics like we have in the United States, but the French version. Let's go over here. Let's look at this. Vandalizing McDonald's. Look at these fools. Is this Antifa? Looks like Antifa, but they told us Antifa is a myth, so it's probably not. We care about France. We love Paris. This is our country. We want what's best for our country. Therefore, we're going to destroy it. Wow. Brainwashing. This is what brainwashing does to these left-wing voters. Instead of doing something productive with their day, doing something productive with their lives, this is what they resort to. Got the French police out there. Somebody can translate that if you speak French. But yeah, they're completely vandalizing their own area. Now let's get into this one here. Just take a look around. I want you to take a close look at all these flags that we're seeing. So they're setting some on fire. It might be a French flag they're setting on fire. But just take a look. I don't even see a French flag over here. I'm seeing all these other countries. Look at this. Who are these people? I mean, you can say it's an invasion because when you have a fire in Paris, in your capital city, by a massive violent crowd, and they're waving every flag except your home country flag, except the French flag, looks like a foreign invasion. It looks like the French military, even though they might be soft-fed and pudgy, it looks like they need to kind of come clean this up. This is a full-blown invasion. Where is the French flag? There's one. Okay. But damn, they are overwhelmed. Who are these people? A bunch of foreigners, man. So Macron them have let their country be infiltrated by a bunch of foreigners who's using the social safety net, the welfare. They're becoming citizens. They're voting in their own best interest, not necessarily what's best for the interest of France. The French culture is being depleted. Their birth rate is down. And Macron's party took a massive L at these foreigners, these far left foreigners, along with a bunch of far left French nationals, took to the streets and became extremely violent. Expect something similar to this because we have a bunch of foreigners too. We have people with the Mexico flag, Venezuelan flag, all types of flags, and we even seen our own people burning up the U.S. flag, Palestine flag. You're gonna have a whole lot of that. So expect to see a bunch of fires, a bunch of fights, and a bunch of foreign flags raised in opposition to the U.S. election. So let me know what you guys think about this. Leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.